Let's go ahead and move on to our one of our episodic segments. We're going to go and talk about what's happening now in Walt Disney World. And unless you live under a rock, I know you've heard about the gigantic bombshell that Disney dropped on everybody this week. Disney's Genie Plus coming to a smartphone near you very soon, replacing FastPass, replacing FastPass Plus, replacing the Disney My Experience app. Some of it sounds okay. Some of it sounds cool. There's going to be some features that are going to be cool. You're going to have, like itineraries, your morning to night. You can plan a whole itinerary, and that sounds great. They claim it's going to, give you more flexibility and stuff. And I'm always amazed by Disney's innovation as far as their, where the way they push technology. The Magic Band technology has been fantastic. You wear it on your arm, you can pay for food with it, you can get into your room with it at your hotel. Lots of great stuff. Innovation is something that Disney does great. Unfortunately, we said from the first episode that we're going to be honest here, and we're going to talk about the good stuff and the bad stuff. And I'm going to be honest with you and tell you, it's not often that Disney disappoints me. They greatly disappointed me this week with the announcement that they're going to start charging for the replacement to the FastPass system. The Disney Genie Plus is going to cost $15 per day per ticket, or per person. So at the Walt Disney World Resort, it's even more expensive at $20 a day per person at Disneyland. But for Disney World, $15 a day per person. And that's going to give you like a reservation. You can go onto the app and get a reservation for the rides, but it's only, and they haven't released everything in their news release. They haven't, said what attractions are going to be in what tier, but the Genie Plus is going to give you access, in their explanation, to classics like Haunted Mansion, to thrill rides like Big Thunder Mountain, and even newer favorites like Millennium Falcon and Smuggler's Run. But then they go on to talk about the what I would call a premier ride, or I guess in Disney terms, you would call it that e-ticket ride. Things like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train or Rise of the Resistance. Those are not going to be included in the Genie Plus. The only way you can speed up your wait time for those premier attractions is to pay an additional fee per ride. So you're going to have to, you can either wait in line with all the other suckers, or you can pay an additional fee just to reserve your place in what they're calling now the Lightning Lane, to get into the Lightning Lane and ride that a little bit quicker. They haven't released how much that additional charge is going to be. My guess is it's going to be something similar to what you were seeing in Disneyland Paris now. They have a similar system, and there it's about $9 a ride to get that Lightning Lane access. So Disney hasn't released the cost for that, but my guess is it's going to be something similar to that. So what do you guys think? Are you disgruntled like I am about FastPass going away? They retired FastPass. No more free FastPass for us. Now you're going to pay to get that reservation, to get in a little bit quicker, and you're going to pay even more per ride if you want to use that Lightning Lane to get into the premier attractions that will be announced at a later date. So what do you guys think? How are you feeling about this Disney Genie Plus announcement?
It doesn't really surprise me so much that they would do this. The amount that it would cost is kind of outrageous, because it costs. How much does it cost to get into the park nowadays?
It depends on what park, and it depends on what season. but
depends how many days.
And how many days, right? So now we're
but
adding
it's
this extra
like
premium to it.
Yeah, and for Magic Kingdom, it's like 130, $140 for a 1-day pass.
See, on the business end, Disney's always done things like this where, or not just Disney, I guess just businesses in general. I think, places like New York City will start charging more than they have to for attractions just because they know people are going to pay it anyway. Broadway shows that my wife and I used to go to all the time skyrocketed from being $60 for a seat to being $120 for a seat or $200 for a seat. So they know people are going to pay it. And once you get all the way down to Florida and you have to go on this ride, if you really want to go on Rise of the Resistance and you brought your entire group with you, and this is saying that you're going to be guaranteed a seat to go on there, I think at that point you're going to say, okay, I'll fork it over. But it's not, me personally, I think it is very disappointing to hear that they have to go this route to, unfortunately, to use the word, milk more money out of their people.
What about you, Ron?
I agree. I from a business perspective, it's a great plan. From a Disney fan and person that believes that Walt Disney was looking for a place for the family to be able to be entertained and for most families to be able to get to, I think this just adds a lot of frustration and it adds a level of status. And you'll have people in line that are looking at these lines going, yeah, we couldn't do that, son. So we're standing in a 2-hour line.
Yeah.
You've got these, for not a better way to help someone, these rich people that can afford to pay their way in front. And that to me is just unfortunate, especially in the society that we're living in right now. There's so much division, and a place that's supposed to be magical to go to and get away from some of the stuff that you deal with. It's going to bring it right into the middle of
there's a lot of unemployed people right now. To suddenly ask them to have enough money to take their family on vacation like that is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, Disney is doing a really good job of putting a Disney vacation out of reach for the middle class and below. It's almost out of reach for the middle class. You almost have to win the lottery or have a rich uncle die in order to afford a trip to Disney World right now. I love the place. I absolutely love it, and I'm sure I'm going to go back. I don't know how much of this Disney Genie Plus additional charges I'm going to be using, though. I'll probably just be waiting in line with the rest of the suckers. First time we go and we see what it's like and how the lines are and stuff. Well, I guess we'll make an educated decision at that point. But Disney gets a big thumbs down from me.
Yeah, it's a thumbs down for me, absolutely. And I'll never forget, we live in Tennessee, and Dollywood is just a few hours, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours away from us. And when we went there, Dollywood mimics a lot of what Disney does.
No.
One thing that they did prior to Disney is charge for their fast pass, and I was appalled that they would charge for a fast pass. I'm like, Disney doesn't even charge for a fast pass. How can you be charging for a fast pass? And I will say, not because Dollywood is another really good family place. You could actually eat at Dollywood and not feel like you're breaking the bank. I mean, it's more expensive than what it would be if you were outside of Dollywood, but it's not so expensive that you feel like you're being overcharged either. If it's unfortunate, I remember going to Disney and I was coming to get fast passes for Peter Pan, running to get our fast passes, and because back then you couldn't do it online, and I ran into a cast member and they'd already distributed all the fast passes that they were going to distribute just then, and he saw the disappointment on my face, and he's like, "Have you ever rode Peter Pan. I'm like, no, I've never heard it. He's like, well, come ride it with me. I want to get your impression of it. Took me right onto the ride.
Nice.
Then handed me enough fast passes for our entire family later in the day.
That's beautiful.
And I mean, that's some really cool stuff that Disney does, right? And I thought it was amazing that they did fast passes at no extra cost. And now they've kind of taken that magic from me. But
yeah, I always thought, because Universal Studios, Universal theme park, whatever, they charge for theirs as well. And I always said, well, that's a Universal thing. I get that. Disney's better than that. And right. I guess up until 2021, Disney was better than that. But they're not anymore. And they know that we're going to keep going. We love the place, and they know they have us, and then we're going to keep going. So, the jury's still out. If it turns out to be fantastic and worth the money, then I'll eat my words and I'll admit it. I'm man enough to do that. But right now I'm disappointed.
Well, part of the problem is in their press release, it's kind of vague. And if you watch the press video, it's also vague because they tell you, oh, some rides may not be included on this, but they, like you said before, they don't tell you which. They're not telling you how much it's going to cost. And they're keeping out so many details that just make this a little bit more infuriating to the hardcore Disney fan. Whereas,
if you're not a hardcore Disney fan, you're just thinking, oh, they just want more money on it. And I don't think they're doing themselves a service. I really agree that they're going to see, they're not going to increase their attendance from this.
Well, in some ways, maybe this is a crowd control thing. They may be, it may work to level off their crowds, and they're probably okay with that too.
Listen to the complete program on your favorite podcast streaming services, now including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and follow us across social media at WDW Reflections Podcast. What's your opinion on Disney's Genie Plus service? We'd love to know. Please comment down below. Join us each week for a brand new show. Thank you for listening. See you real soon.